Your baby memories aren't gone. You just can't reach them right now. Somewhere inside your brain, there might be a memory of the exact moment you were born into the world, your parents holding you for the first time, the sound of the room, maybe even your own mother's voice from inside the womb. Scientists used to believe that memory simply didn't exist, that it was never created in the first place. But new research says something far stranger and honestly a little unsettling. The memory might actually still be there. You just can't get to it. This is the mystery of why you can't remember being a baby, and for over 100 years, scientists got the explanation almost completely wrong. Today, we're going to walk through what they used to believe, what changed, and what a groundbreaking study using real infant brain scans just revealed. And by the end, you're going to look at your own earliest years completely differently. Let's start with the basics because most people have never actually stopped to think about how strange this is. Take a moment and try to recall your very first memory. For most people, it lands somewhere between the ages of 3 and 4. Everything before that, your first steps, your first words, learning to recognize your own parents' faces, is essentially a blank, not blurry, not faded, just gone, like it never happened at all. Scientists have a name for this, infantile amnesia, sometimes called childhood amnesia. And here's the first surprising fact: it isn't unique to humans. Researchers studying memory in animals, including rats and even monkeys, have found the exact same pattern. Baby animals that clearly learn and respond to experiences early in life also lose access to those specific memories as they mature, even though the rest of their brain keeps developing normally. This tells us something important right away. Whatever is causing this, it isn't just a human quirk, it's something built deep into how mammal brains develop. For most of the 20th century, the leading explanation was simple: babies just couldn't form long term memories in the first place. The idea was that the hippocampus, the seahorse shaped structure in your brain responsible for saving and organizing memories, was simply too immature in infancy to do its job. No memory storage, no memory to recall later. Case closed, or so everyone thought. But there was always a problem with this theory, one that quietly bothered researchers for decades. If babies genuinely couldn't form memories at all, why did they clearly learn so much during this exact same period? Infants learn to recognize faces. They learn the sound and rhythm of their native language before they can even speak it. They learn cause and effect, that shaking a toy makes noise, that crying brings a parent running. All of that is learning, and learning at its core requires some form of memory. So, how could a brain supposedly incapable of memory be doing all of that at the exact same time? This contradiction sat unresolved for years until researchers at Yale decided to test it directly using a tool earlier scientists simply didn't have access to: functional MRI brain scans performed on awake, alert infants. This is a genuinely difficult thing to pull off. Babies don't exactly follow instructions to hold still, but the researchers managed it, scanning infants ranging from 4 months old all the way up to 2 years old. Here's how the experiment worked. Researchers showed each infant a new image: a face, an object, or a scene, something the baby had never seen before. Later, that same image was shown again, side by side with a brand new image the baby had never encountered. And here's the key insight the whole study depended on: babies have a natural, well documented tendency to stare longer at something familiar to them compared to something completely new. If a baby looked significantly longer at the previously seen image, that was strong evidence the baby actually remembered it. While this was happening, researchers were simultaneously scanning brain activity specifically in the hippocampus, the exact structure long assumed to be too undeveloped to function in babies. And what they found completely upended the old theory. The greater the activity in an infant's hippocampus while looking at a new image, the longer that same baby stared at it later when it reappeared, meaning stronger hippocampus activity at the moment of seeing something new directly predicted stronger memory of it afterward. In other words, the hippocampus was already working, already encoding memories in babies as young as 1 year old. This directly contradicts the old assumption that infants simply lack the brain hardware necessary to remember anything at all. So if the memories are actually being formed, then where do they go? This is where the story gets genuinely strange, and where a second, even more important discovery comes in. Researchers now believe the issue was never about storage. It's about retrieval, the ability to consciously access a memory once it's already been saved. Think of it like a library where books are absolutely being placed on the shelves, correctly filed and stored, but the librarian responsible for finding and retrieving them hasn't fully learned the system yet. The information exists. The retrieval system simply isn't mature enough yet to reliably pull it back out. This distinction matters enormously because it reframes the entire mystery. It's not that your earliest years vanished into nothing, it's that your adult brain, using a retrieval system that developed years after those original memories were formed, may simply lack the correct access key to reach them. And this connects to something researchers have separately discovered about how different types of memory develop on completely different timelines inside a growing brain. There appear to be at least two distinct memory systems at play in infancy. One is called statistical learning, essentially your brain's ability to detect patterns and structure in the world around it, like recognizing the typical sequence of events during a meal, or picking up on common features shared across different human faces. This type of learning relies on an earlier developing part of the hippocampus, and it's almost certainly part of how infants pick up language patterns and social cues so rapidly, well before they can even speak. The second system is episodic memory, the kind responsible for specific personal experiences, this exact moment, this specific event, tied to a particular place and time. This relies on a different, later developing region of the hippocampus, one that continues maturing well into early childhood and even into adolescence. Researchers believe this second system is far more fragile in infancy and far more vulnerable to being lost or, at minimum, becoming permanently inaccessible as the whole memory network continues to reorganize itself during rapid early brain development. There's another piece to this puzzle that makes the whole picture even more fascinating: the sheer pace of change happening inside a developing brain during these years. An infant's brain isn't just storing memories, it's undergoing one of the fastest periods of structural change a human brain will ever experience, rapidly generating enormous numbers of new neurons, forming and reshaping neural connections constantly. Some researchers now believe this intense reorganization may actively interfere with older, already stored memories, essentially overwriting or restructuring the very network those early memories depended on to remain accessible. One researcher at Harvard has proposed something particularly compelling here: that this apparent forgetting isn't a flaw in the system at all. It might actually be a necessary trade off, the same explosive new learning capacity that lets an infant absorb an entire language, recognize countless new faces, and build the foundation of everything they'll become, may come at the direct cost of being able to hold onto the specific episodic memories formed during that exact same window. Now here's a detail that should genuinely give you chills. Remember that early research into rats we mentioned earlier? Scientists found something remarkable when they went looking for those seemingly lost early memories. A faint trace of the original experience remained detectable in the brain long after it appeared to be completely forgotten, and critically, that trace could actually be triggered and brought back by the right later reminder. This finding may help explain something that clinicians and psychologists have observed in humans for a long time: why early childhood experiences, including trauma experienced far too young to be consciously remembered, can still measurably shape adult behavior, emotional responses, and even increase risk for certain mental health difficulties later in life. The conscious memory might be inaccessible, but something, some trace, some imprint may still be there, quietly shaping who you become. So, what does all of this actually mean for you personally? It means somewhere inside your own brain right now, there's a real possibility that memories from your earliest year of life were genuinely recorded, correctly stored, real events that actually happened to you, and are simply sitting there, permanently out of reach, behind a retrieval system that was never fully built to access them. Not deleted, not erased, just locked away behind a door your adult brain has never learned to open. There's something strangely comforting and honestly a little haunting about that idea. That your very first steps, the exact sound of your parents' voices in those earliest days, the first time you ever felt truly safe in someone's arms, all of it might genuinely still exist somewhere inside you, shaping who you are today in ways you'll never consciously recall and never fully understand. If this changed the way you think about your own earliest years, you're going to want to see the video where we cover exactly why your brain actively deletes your dreams within minutes of waking up. Because the mechanism behind that is even stranger than this one, and it's happening to you literally every single night. Subscribe if you want to keep uncovering the hidden science behind how your own mind actually works, because the deeper researchers dig into the human brain, the clearer it becomes. Some of the biggest mysteries about who we are aren't hiding out in ancient history. They're hiding inside your own head right now, and we're only just beginning to understand them. I'll see you in the next one.